Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. It's 7 a.m. in Toronto. Looks like another fine warm day here. We're sort of jumping again to another live broadcast. Run a couple of trains. So maybe you can let me know if you can see and hear me okay. I see that watching. So I have a little bit of a different setup this morning or this afternoon as it is in the UK. I'm using my cell phone as an invited guest. That's the screen that you see on the right hand side. The left hand side is being run through a Logitech C920. So I have two A4s running. So Nigel Presley LNER button and the Silver One LNER 2509. So I set this up last night. What dog, Andy, how are you? What's the weather doing here? Can you hear me? It's always the most important thing. There you go, Andy. There. How are you doing? What's happening? Where you are? It's not raining. It's interesting. You get a bit of hot weather there and everybody is roasting. And I guess that lasts for a week or two. It's pretty fortunate here at the library because, so I told you this is the basement and it's across the hallway. It's a furnace room. That's a gas-fired furnace that heats the house. It's a two-story building. First floor and second floor. So it heats and also cools the building. Plus, the basement is always the coolest place in the house because it's below ground level. And that is how real is now. In the winter, it is a little bit cooler, but there's still warm air being pushed through the air. Excuse me. So generally, you're never getting complaining about the weather. So you can probably see there's a couple of doors there. Just thought I'd bring them out for change. not sure if there are any other schools here out there who are broadcasting at this time. I didn't see any, and I thought, well, it's not a bad time to broadcast. Maybe people are having lunch or getting ready to go and start the day. So as I said, I set this up last night and I haven't to sounds breaking with it. Well, thanks. Just change over while I do this. Just plugged in a microphone and I wonder if that's any better. I've just unmuted the laptop, so hopefully you'll be able to hear me now. Still note. That's the weirdest thing. Oh, you got it? Okay. So, as I said, I've got the laptop here, and on my small view, it was muted. But what seems to be occurring is that, let's step back a bit. What seems to be occurring is I get a little bit of an echo from the iPhone and the webcam, and I think that cuts out my audio. So I'll just go back to the other screen here. All right, so hopefully that's been cleared up. And if you didn't get it before, welcome back to Partick Hill Station. So as you can see, I've got a little bit of a different setup with the cameras. In this view here, I've got a Logitech 920. And in the other view, that's my iPhone. And the iPhone has been brought in as a guest. I've got another camera set up. I'll try and bring that view in. And that's the Logitech Brio, which is this one. So I'm just experimenting, trying to get things optimized. But it's always great to get a check with someone on the outside who's watching in. So as I said, it might be 25 degrees here today. Those lazy, hazy, crazy days of summer, as they would call it, which August generally is. The interesting thing is we've had a number of storms pass through and deposit lots of rain, and the gardens around here have never looked better. And in fact, I've never watered the lawn this summer. Normally, by this time, the lawn is brown, or at least not green, because there's not enough water. But the all the gardens here look exceptionally good. Oh, pissing down, Andy. Yeah. As I said, I think what happens is whatever storm we get generally makes its way across to you within a few days. And we did have the one big storm come up from the US South. And then we got the tail end of it here as it swung around and headed east over towards you. So I'm just going to go back to the station view. And there you can see my attempt at building the gantry. Now, this is only in its temporary position at the moment. I've yet to put cap plates on the masts, and when I do that, I'll glue it together, and then I'll spray it. But it looks pretty good, and I've got 4 of these headspans now, and I'll place them strategically around the layout to suggest that they're in that period of transition. And I think, well, at least I was considering purchasing the mast from Scale Model Scenery, but it's £21 plus, you know, I don't know, £12 or £14 to get it here. I can't remember. So what I could do is just continue building the mast out of plastic card. Relatively simple to do, just a little bit tedious getting those braces in. Anyway, right now it's we've got an issue with wasps and hornets around here, and they're all going crazy right now as it's getting close to the end of the summer. So I've been looking for a way to deal with them, and it's been suggested that I mix up boric acid and apple juice, and then put it in the pot can. And what the wasps and hornets will do is they'll go in and feed there, and then go back to the nest, and it will kill off the nest. But the nice thing about it is it does not affect bumblebees. So we want to make sure the bumblebees are safe, because they do a lot of good work out there. It's the nasty hornets that can give you a very bad sting. Well, good morning, Jake. Thanks for dropping in, and I hope you two can hear me clearly. Yeah, just thought I'd jump in today at this time and fill in an hour. I'm going to go meet a friend for lunch downtown, so I'll head out after this. Yeah, I thought I'd run a couple of A4s today. Just give them a run out, because I don't normally bring them
to the station. There's always a choice of which ones I'm going to put out. I have another couple of A4s. I think one of them has got an issue with the. Yeah, they are tender drives. Well, at least the Silver Link is tender driven. And with Sir Nigel Presley, I can't remember. It's probably tender driven too. And I was just going to say, got this nice Walter Wigham. I'll get it in view. And it's tender driven. And I've been working on this one, servicing it, so I'll try that out later once I make sure that everything's working. And I'll need to check if this one should have like rubber tires. Yeah, they run quite well and reliable, as long as you don't have issues with those cogs. And you know, now that I know how to replace a cog. Hey, Andy Dobson, how are you? President XD's locomotive shed. Well, good morning, Mr. President. Aren't you a bit busy with the election coming up? Maybe you can tell us where you're located. Like, could it be to drop in? And how did you find the broadcast this morning? Was it through a search or, excuse my ignorance, maybe you've been in here before? Matty Matman, how are you? Long time no see. What are you up to, Matt? Yeah, the nice thing about those tender-driven ones is that they do run well when there's no issues with that motor. Now, I think I told you I had picked up a couple of Fleischmann motors at a swap meet, and oh yeah, thanks, Andy. I was thinking about Mr. President, as I hadn't seen him in here before. I'm just wondering how he got notice of it. Yeah, so given that I can now change out those cogs That's one solution if something goes wrong. And the other one is, as I said, I found a couple of Fleischmann motors that seem to work better than the Hornby ones. And so I've got them as spares, and I can always swap out if the Ringfield motor dies. The Silver Links get a little bit of a squeak. I oiled it up last night, but it hasn't taken it away, so I'll need to have a closer look at it. Now, there was an interesting YouTube I watched, and Motor Railways Unlimited. He did a video on sort of servicing the old. Let me just get it. Yeah, the old Gauge Master, and the one that he was working on was the single. Well, Mr. President, thank you very much. As I said, I didn't realise that you'd been in here before, but thanks very much for coming in today. Where are you located? So he did a service on this controller, albeit that it was similar to this one. But a kind of single, it only had the wave switch on it. And I'll maybe drop him a note on this. But he said if you have the wave switch on full, you would probably be able to obtain slow running speeds on most locomotives. Now, having said that, I've got this little unit here, and it gives power to the outside line. That's the one with the Sir Nigel Bresley on it. And it gives good control. Oh, you're in Dublin. Oh, I didn't know that. Anyway, I hope I hope all the issues that are going on there settle down. Seems to be a terrible situation for everybody concerned. Yeah, I guess we all want peace in the world, but it's difficult to obtain. Now, Donegal Dad, I think, mentioned that he goes to a model railway shop in Dublin. Is that correct? What's the name of that? Have you been there? Yeah, the safety minor, Andy. That was it. I'm not sure what the difference is between the safety minor and the one that I just showed you. But that too, as I said, gives good control. So the other one that I have here is that Tech 2. Now that's running the Silver Link, and the speed is set to 40. Now that's a pretty good speed. I assume that the Sir Nigel Gresley, which is running out of this one, it's doing about the same, maybe a little bit faster. And I was thinking about setting up a timer to see calculate what speed we were actually doing. But given that 40 miles an hour on that seems to be a realistic speed, because I don't think we want them flying around here. Well, Andy, you could be talking double Dutch there, for all I know. But now that you mention that, and I look at the Clipper has resistance settings of high and low. Maybe you can give me an idea of what the setting should be while using that one. It means the minor is a superior design. So I'm assuming that the minor came out after the Clipper was produced. I think the Silver Link might have an issue with missing a rubber wheel.
just derailed there for a second.
Yeah, it was really interesting watching his explanation of how it worked. Well, and there's another Scottish guy, Bob Cairns. I was chatting to him through the week. He's got a lot of really interesting stuff going on. Double O Electronics, I think the station is called, or at least his channel. And yeah, a lot of interesting stuff. It'd be worthwhile having a look at it. I don't know if any of you have had a look at Double O Electronics, Bob Cairns, or if you're familiar with his layout. So there were a number of A4s would run out of Buchanan Street before it closed. Yeah, there are all kinds stationed around there. And then when Buchanan Street closed, I think they moved to Queen Street. And I have a couple of photographs of an A4 with a Pullman set or a Pullman rake leaving Queen Street going into the tunnel. It's an old black and white photograph. So basically, that's what I've tried to recreate here. I think Clive would be interested in that BOC tanker. That's the original Triang one. And I've got the box for that too. Now, here's an interesting thing. There was a guy called, excuse me, Rob Johnson. Now, I met Rob Johnson through the channel a couple of years ago. Great layout. And he said to me, well, Charlie, I'm going to send you a tree that I made. And I'm going to send you a tunnel portal. So in fact, that tree there beside the church is the one that he sent me. And he sent me this portrait. The actual portal is in the drawer somewhere, I think. But he made that. So he's obviously got a casting. And he made it with plaster of Paris. Painted it up. No, it looks great. Problem is, I couldn't find a spot for it. I haven't given up on that. However, the reason I mention it is Rob has kind of dropped off. I've never been able to get in touch with him again. So I'm not sure what he's up to, if anything untoward had happened. I'm just wondering if anybody out there was ever in touch with him. Yeah, Andy, you're right. Yeah, I wouldn't touch it. Out of curiosity, I might just have a look, but I wouldn't mess around with it. Yeah, that's too bad, Andy. It's kind of sad to hear that people just drop off, for no apparent reason, and there's no contact with anyone. The community at large is very good at communicating. And you think, well, it must be just around the corner. It can't be that far away. How difficult would it be to drop by? But you just never know. And there's my box of Chinese passengers. They're a little bit on the bright side, and a little bit in the large side also. But what I have done is, and you may have seen the video previously, I cut the legs off of a number of them and installed them in, I think it was my APT. And they look pretty good considering. Now, you know the status on my Caledonian single. Um, you might be able to see just in there by that pickup between the two wheels is the lead weights that I put in place of the magnet, and it runs fine, but I'll still need to do um, the pickup, the front bogie, and in fact, Bob Cairns said to me, "Yeah, Charlie, I did that," and he gave me the information for a replacement front bogie to get at Peter Spares for that, and that would make sure that when it goes through a point that it's actually picking up and can continue through, so that the main wheel can then continue to pick up the power as it passes through the point. So that was I know Double O Bill did that also. It's good to see that others are using the same type of process and solutions. Mick, how are you? Yeah, Mick, did you see my, I'll give you a view here. My catenary system. Those are the scale model scenery head spans and my own scratch built plastic card masts, which are just awaiting a cap plate on there. Because the plate at the end of the head span isn't long enough to go over the top of the mast. That just tells me that would be the size of the mast used by scale model scenery. Whereas I've got somewhat substantial mast there. But I'll put the cap plate on, and then most likely continue building those masts. I have a smaller size channel section from Plasticard that I might use that could be more suitable for the end plate for the head span, but a little bit more finicky. Yeah, Andy, I know what you mean about being private, and they'll maybe go into a channel, watch it, but don't participate. And of course, you see that when you're doing a broadcast. And in my particular case, right now there are 7 people in here, including myself. But if I go out into YouTube later, there could be 50 or 60 people. And I guess that accounts for those that just enjoy watching or listening, but they don't necessarily want to communicate with others. Like I have a very good friend in Glasgow. Yeah, Andy, it will. When I get it glued together, I'm going to paint it grey and weather it a little bit. But that's just a temporary setup there. So anyway, I've a school boy friend whom I've known for over 60 years. And he's a big Rangers fan. And he has a museum in his house. Like he's got all kinds of stuff in there. jackets that some of the blazers that some of the players wore when they played for Scotland, and caps and original shirts, ties, incredible stuff. But it never shows it. Like a select couple of people have actually been in, including myself. But it never ever talks about it. So I guess it's the same with people who have a large collection, and they just don't want. Well, they're not like you and I, Andy, or anybody else on the stream here, who are quite happy and willing to jump on and chat with people. And many people are very uncomfortable speaking publicly, especially via YouTube. So, Mick, what are you doing on the layout? And tell me, have you electrified the wires? Are you actually running the trains from the wires? And maybe you can explain how you did that. Is there a switch on the local? I'll show you this one if I can. On this particular one, there's a switch here that you move back and forth, and that will allow you to either run it from the track or from the pantograph. And then the EM2 is a little bit different again. I think the roof for the EM2 is in the box, but there's also a switch up here that slides back and forth. Yeah, I think you're right about that, Andy. I think it takes a certain type of person who is willing to set up and put themselves out there. It's just a challenge for a lot of people. In my career in engineering, I had to do many presentations, and in fact, I was invited to fly over to London and do a presentation, an engineering software competition, and I did this presentation on a new piece of software that had been developed by the software company that we used that enabled us to build a model of the concrete in 3D and then place the reinforcing steel inside the model individually. I mean, it was just incredible how they were able to do this. And as it happened, I'd been working on an electric generating station, in other words, a dam out in Manitoba. And I had the responsibility of rolling out this piece of software, troubleshooting it with the software specialist, and get it working so that the modelers could actually place this rebar into the concrete model. And it was extremely successful. So I get invited to go to London and do this presentation, for which I ended up getting an award. And if you're interested, you go into my channel and do a search for Bentley software presentation or something like that, and you'll see my whole presentation there that I did. And yeah, the night of the awards, I think there were 1,000 people there, so it was pretty awesome and inspiring. Yeah. Yeah, I'd be very interested to see how it all works out. Yeah, and why do you think that was, Andy? Yeah, that's a nice model there, and a very well detailed pantograph. And it too has a slider there, that little button. So this is a live pantograph. Yeah, cheaper, and I guess it would be something else that would have to maintain moving forward, because, as you know, when you introduce another component into your system, there are issues that will crop up over time. Now, do you clean the wire, or do you just clean the pantograph? Well, guys, I've been on for an hour. You know, once again, I really appreciate you dropping by, and I know that there are other guys out there who broadcast, so I'm not going to eat up their Saturday morning, afternoon. So great of you all to stop by. And Mr. President, thanks very much for coming in, and thanks for coming back again. I really appreciate that. And let me know about the model railway situation in Dublin. It'd be very interesting to hear about that. So have a great rest of your Saturday, whatever you're up to. I hope it stops raining, Andy. And yeah, let us know, Mick, what you're doing with your scenery, and show us on YouTube. Always interested to see what you're up to. And we'll see you later, Jake and Andy D, and all being well, I'll see you in the morning, Andy. Hot dog. So it's Charlie signing off from Partick Hill Station, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks very much for being with us. See you, Matt, and thanks, Andy, for the assistance with the audio.